I'm Gabrielle, 62. 3 years have passed since that fateful dinner with my daughter-in-law, Isabella. I still remember how she arrived at my house, all made up and forcing smiles, with my grandchildren Lily, now 12, and Ethan, 9, trailing behind her. Grandma, Lily had cried, running to hug me. At 12, she's still full of affection. Ethan, on the other hand, hung back, eyeing me warily, influenced by whatever lies Isabella had been telling him. Come in, I'd said warmly, ushering them inside. Dinner's almost ready. Isabella looked around suspiciously, perhaps expecting to see someone ready to expose her. Instead, she found a simple, home cooked meal and a grandmother eager to see her grandkids. After the kids were settled in the living room watching a movie, the confrontation began. I know everything, Isabella, I said quietly, sliding a folder across the table. The gambling, the loans from Victor Rossi, and the lies you've spread about me. Her face paled instantly. I don't know what you're. Please don't insult my intelligence, I interrupted. My son, Ryan, documented it all before he died. I found his storage unit. For a moment, real fear flashed in her eyes, but then she hardened her expression. So what? It's your word against mine. Everyone already thinks you're losing your mind. I smiled then. Not anymore. I have a neurological workup proving I'm completely sound. I have statements from your sister, Ava, confirming your history of manipulation. I have evidence that you owe $200,000 to a man connected to organized crime, and all of Ryan's documentation. Her hands trembled as she reached for her wine glass. What do you want? A truce, I said simply. I don't want to destroy you, Isabella. I just want to be part of my grandchildren's lives. I want the rumors to stop. I want peace. She studied me, perhaps looking for weakness. And if I refuse? Then I'll take everything I have to the police. The gambling might not be illegal, but the loans and the connection to Rossi will interest them, especially given the timing of Ryan's death. Her voice rose in panic. Are you accusing me of? I'm stating facts. I cut in. Ryan confronted you about the gambling and loans 4 days before he died. He changed his will to protect the children's inheritance, and then he had a sudden cardiac event at 38. Isabella collapsed back in her chair, her false facade crumbling. I didn't kill him, she whispered, tears streaking her makeup. I swear I didn't. The stress, the fight we had, maybe that contributed, but I never wanted him dead. I loved him in my way. I looked into her eyes, searching for the truth. To this day, I'm not sure if I believe her. But in that moment, I made a choice for peace, for my grandchildren, and for my own future. I'm going to pay off your debt to Rossi, not for you, but to get that criminal element away from my grandchildren. In exchange, you'll give me regular access to Lily and Ethan, stop spreading rumors about me, and seek treatment for your gambling addiction. She agreed immediately, relief flooding her face. It all started at Ryan's funeral. My son, a vibrant 38-year-old, had passed away suddenly from a cardiac arrest. The funeral home was filled with the smell of lilies and grief. I stood beside his casket, my hand on the polished wood, trying to comprehend how he could be gone. Ryan's attorney, Mr. Thompson, gently touched my elbow and said we needed to discuss some matters. As I followed him to a side room, I saw Isabella huddled in the corner with Ava. She and Ryan had been together for 11 years, and I'd always thought they were happy. But then, Isabella's sharp voice cut through the air. You know they're going to read the will tomorrow, right? I just hope he didn't leave anything substantial to Gabrielle. Her sister murmured something, and Isabella continued. I'm his wife. Everything should come to me. I've put up with his mother for years, always around, giving her opinions. When Ava asked what if I expected to move in, Isabella laughed. I'd rather die. I'm the one who has to pick up the pieces, raise the kids alone. I'm not going to care for that old woman. The room spun. I'd always tried to be a good mother-in-law, watching the kids a couple of days a week, so Isabella could work part-time and bringing meals when Ryan worked late. I thought we had a good relationship. Mr. Thompson then told me that Ryan had changed his will about 3 weeks ago, transferring almost everything to me instead of Isabella. He'd set up trust funds for the kids that would mature when they turned 25. I was shocked. Why would Ryan do this? He was always so thoughtful. Behind us, Isabella spotted me and quickly put on a mask of grief. As she hugged me, all I could think was that Ryan knew who she really was. The reading of the will was a nightmare. Isabella was furious, insisting it wasn't legal. Mr. Thompson assured her that Ryan was of sound mind when he made the changes. Afterward, she stormed out, refusing to talk to me. 3 days later, I was in Ryan's home office. Isabella had reluctantly given me the key, saying she couldn't bear to sort through his things yet. As I ran my fingers along his desk, I noticed a drawer slightly ajar with a key in the lock. Ryan was always careful about security, so this was strange. My hands trembled as I opened the drawer. Inside was a thick folder labeled Financial Records. When I opened it, I found credit card statements, loan applications, and bank notices from the past 2 years. There was also a handwritten note from Ryan. "Mom, if you're reading this, I'm so sorry. I should have told you sooner." A USB drive fell from the papers. I plugged it into the computer and found a video dated 3 weeks ago, the same time he changed his will. Ryan's tired but resolute face filled the screen. "Mom, if you're watching this, things with Isabella have probably gotten worse. I discovered her gambling problem about 6 months ago. At first, I thought we could work through it, but it's deeper than I thought. She's been taking loans from some dangerous people. I'm changing my will today to protect you and the kids." Just then, I heard Isabella's voice. "Gabrielle, honey, I brought dinner." I quickly closed the computer and gathered the documents, slipping them into my bag. I stepped out of the office, forcing a smile. "I'm just finishing up. How thoughtful of you to bring food." Her eyes flickered to my bag, but she said, "Well, we're family. We need to stick together." 2 months after Ryan's funeral, my world shrank. Invitations to community events stopped, and my bridge club informed me they were restructuring and there was no place for me. I knew Isabella was behind it. She was popular in our small community, and now she was painting herself as the grieving widow wronged by a greedy mother-in-law. I overheard Mrs. Jenkins whispering at the grocery store, "Did you hear what Gabrielle did to poor Isabella? Taking everything after Ryan died and leaving her and the kids with nothing." I left the store, humiliated. Even worse was what she did to my grandchildren. Before Ryan's death, I saw Lily and Ethan 3 or 4 times a week. Now, my calls went unanswered, and when I did talk to them, they were distant. One day, I finally confronted Isabella when she dropped the kids off. "Isabella, why are you turning everyone against me and keeping the kids away?" Her face changed, showing her true coldness. "Maybe people are finally seeing you for who you really are, a controlling woman who couldn't let Ryan live his own life." I protested. "Ryan changed his will because he discovered your gambling." She laughed, but I saw panic in her eyes. "You're inventing things. First you steal my inheritance, and now this." She stepped closer and whispered menacingly, "Those are my children. If you want to see them, keep your accusations to yourself and give me what's rightfully mine." That night, I cried alone in my kitchen. I started to question myself, wondering if I was the villain. The next morning, I went to Dr. Miller, our family doctor for 20 years. But his attitude had changed. He said Isabella was concerned about my mental state, that I might be in the early stages of dementia. I left with a prescription I had no intention of filling, realizing Isabella was trying to destroy my credibility. Just then, I got a text from an unknown number. "We need to talk about Isabella. Meet me at Maple Cafe tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Come alone, Ava." After months of isolation, I hoped Ava could be an ally. At the cafe, Ava arrived looking natural and relaxed, in contrast to Isabella's polished perfection. She told me she'd been wanting to talk to me since the funeral, but was watched by Isabella. "I believe you about everything, Gabrielle. The gambling, the loans. Isabella has done this before. Before she met Ryan, she was engaged to a man named Henry. She nearly destroyed him financially." Ava reached into her bag and pulled out a notebook. I've been documenting her lies about you, how she's manipulated the kids and the community. She told our parents you were abusive to Ryan throughout his childhood. I was shocked. Why would she say these things? Because she's desperate. Whatever Ryan discovered must have been really bad. She needs that inheritance to cover her tracks, Ava said. She also suspected that some of the people Isabella borrowed from were connected to serious criminals. She warned me to be careful. Isabella was destroying my credibility because she was afraid I'd discover the truth. Document everything, Ava advised. And don't take anything she gives you. She gave me a burner phone and said to use it to contact her. That evening, as I sorted through Ryan's papers, I found a key taped to the back of his desk drawer with a note saying, Storage Unit 17, Elm Street lock and key. I knew this might hold the evidence Ryan had gathered. The next day, at the storage unit, I found a timeline of Isabella's activities over the past 3 years, detailed with dates, amounts, and photos. There was also a box of evidence, including bank statements and loan documents. At the bottom of the box was a USB drive that made my hands shake. There was also a leather-bound journal. The last entry, dated 4 days before Ryan's death, read that he'd confronted Isabella with what he'd found. She denied everything at first, then became hysterical, begging him not to tell anyone, especially me. He'd changed his will just in case. I spent hours in the storage unit, gathering evidence. That afternoon, I called Ava from the burner phone. I found Ryan's evidence. It's worse than we thought. I think Isabella might have had something to do with Ryan's death. 2 days later, Ava and I met with Dr. Harris, a neurologist in the next town. After a complete work-up, he confirmed that I had no signs of dementia and that my mental acuity was exceptional. I then hired a private investigator, Max, referred by Ava. I also started rebuilding my social life. I reached out to my old friend, Carol, who distanced herself after hearing Isabella's rumors. I showed her Dr. Harris's report and my collection of birthday cards and letters from Ryan, proving Isabella's lies. Slowly, I reclaimed my life. Max discovered that Isabella had borrowed money from Victor Rossi, a man connected to organized crime. She owed him $200,000 and Rossi didn't extend payment terms. That's how I ended up at the confrontation with Isabella. Now, 3 years later, on this warm spring afternoon, I sit in my garden watching Lily and Ethan play. Our relationship with Isabella remains complex. The trust is broken, but we've found a kind of peace for the sake of the children. I've established trust funds for Lily and Ethan, just as Ryan wanted. I've renovated my home to include a pottery studio for Lily and a reading nook for Ethan. I've also set aside money for Isabella's ongoing treatment. Sometimes I wonder what Ryan would think of this arrangement. I like to believe he'd understand. He changed his will out of love to protect what mattered most. Last week, I fulfilled a promise I'd made to Ryan years ago. With Lily and Ethan beside me, I scattered a small portion of his ashes beneath an ancient olive tree in Italy, the place we'd always talked about visiting together. Is Dad happy here, Grandma? Ethan asked, holding my hand. I think he is, I answered, watching as the wind carried the ashes into the Italian countryside. But he's happiest knowing we're together, taking care of each other. Life after loss isn't about forgetting. It's about finding a way forward, honoring what was lost while embracing what remains. And I cherish every moment of this new chapter with my grandchildren.